Good evening, all. My name is Christina Jardis, Chair of the Region 5 Stakeholder Advisory Committee, and I would like to call this meeting to order on August 14th, 2025 at 5:31 p.m. And this may be our last meeting. Hopefully, we can get through everything tonight. Otherwise, we'll meet again next Tuesday, and Mark and Sam will repeat that at the end too, in case we need to carry on. But I wanted to remind everybody, since we have quite a few folks that are visitors here, there's a sign-up sheet over on the table over there. If you could just note your name, and then when you are called on to speak, please state your name. That way we can just correlate who's here and everything, as well as why you're speaking today. And we are going to limit public comment to 2 minutes, so everybody has equal talking time. And then during the overall meeting, if the committee has any questions, we may call on you, but that's the committee's choice. So just want to point that out. Let's see. Okay.
So we have 2 members also online tonight to make our quorum.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and before we continue, we will need to make a motion to approve the agenda first, right? Okay. Make a motion to approve the agenda. Does anybody want to do that?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, so Jim in a second. Okay. Okay, we'll move that to a vote. All in favor? All right. Got Jill
And
Alice.
Aye. Aye.
yeah,
Like a high eye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. No. And with that, the agenda has been adopted for tonight's meeting. So I'll turn it over to the OPZ team.
okay. So just real quick, just want to highlight, since Christina said this may be our last last Stakeholder Advisory Committee SAC meeting. This process really started about a year and a half ago or so, where we collected feedback, the Office of Planning and Zoning reviewed some of those comments, worked with the community a little bit more, then presented some information to the Stakeholder Advisory Committee starting in September. In May, they reviewed a draft zoning map, made some recommendations. That draft zoning map was available then over the summer for public comment. And that's where we are today, is here in August 2025, is reviewing the public comments on that draft zoning map, as well as public comments that we received on a few draft questionnaires on draft strategies for the plan starting in February, that lasted through, I think, May or June. So after tonight, then, if we can wrap up with the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, the County Office of Planning and Zoning, we'll go ahead and refine some of these strategies and the zoning based on the conversations tonight. And then we will present to the Planning Advisory Board in September. I've got the specific dates at a later slide when we wrap up and talk about next steps. The Planning Advisory Board will go from September until December. There will be an opportunity for public comment during that process. And then once they provide a recommendation on the plan, it will go to the County Council in early 2026. And again, there will be another opportunity for public comment during their process. And ultimately, County Council has the authority to approve or adopt the plan as well as the zoning map. Okay. So again, just wanted to provide everybody an overview of the process for this region plan and zoning map. So with that, before we move on, the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, like I said, submitted their applications to serve last summer, and they began their work in October. So they've been working for almost a year, meeting essentially every month for several hours. In May, that was a longer month. We had 2 meetings that I think we went into about 10:15 one night. So we do want to recognize the commitment, the effort, the time that the committee has put into this and their expertise from their various areas within the Region 5 area. So we have James Kitchen from the County Executive's Office, if you want to say a few words and recognize the committee.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for members of the public for being here as well. I think really on behalf of the County Executive, what I do want to say is just thank you. And you're stuck with me tonight, and then lots of folks around at Mako doing, good work and collaborating with other folks, but this is the work that when I know when he first decided to run for his office, that he really envisioned. I was with him in 2017, 2018. He's around the county, we had a small area plan saying, we need more community input, we need bottom up planning in this county. And he took that idea, turned it into an entire movement and got him where he is. But all the work you are doing is really the culmination of the county executive's vision from even when before he became office. I saw the list of applicants. Lots of awesome quality people applied to be on it. Lots of staff time went into being like, hey, what is the right group of people? And we know how much time you put into this, both at the meetings, but then even trying to, do the detailed work in between them, so you can do your best job here representing your communities and giving really, really detailed reports to your communities to keep them informed, to get feedback, so you can come back and represent that. That is how government works. It is how government works better when you have communities involved. I just want to thank you on behalf of the county executive for doing the good work. So we have county executive citations for each one of the members. I don't think we're gonna pass them out individually right now. I'll read one of them to you, and then we'll get all of you your citation. But they read, the residents of Anne Arundel County, Maryland salute, insert name, in recognition of your commitment to Anne Arundel County's Region 5 Stakeholder Advisory Committee planning process. As a member of the Stakeholder Advisory Committee for the region, you have selflessly volunteered your time and expertise to create a vision for a healthy, livable, and vibrant community. We are grateful for your work that will continue to shape our communities for years to come. We commend you for your excellent work and extend to you our most heartfelt appreciation and our best wishes in all of your future endeavors. Thank you for helping to make Anne Arundel County the best place for all. So we got one of these for each of you. On a personal note, I'd say especially thank you to this group. I live in Region 5, I'm like 5 minutes down the road, so thank you for taking care of my little wing of the county as well. Really does mean a lot. I think potentially the only thing more controversial than this is school redistricting. So you have one of the harder jobs we ask citizens to do. So thank you again for stepping up and doing it. We'll be passing this out now after.
We can do it at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
That's easiest.
So thank you all. Very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move to public comment now. Again, limiting to 2 minutes for each individual who chooses to stand up and speak, so. Don't everybody raise their hand first. Okay, go ahead, sir.
My name is Jim Holman. I live in the Fort Tucson. I'm sure you guys have been overwhelmed with the comments on parcel post that Two Rivers Associates wish to build on. My question to you, your recommendations have it going back to open space and being a walking trail. Does the county go in and rezone it from R2, R5 to open space?
We'll cover the Two Rivers area
Yeah.
later in the slide deck.
Yeah, we have it on one of our items to talk. It's towards the end, right? Yeah, it's towards the end. So just so you know, and
You know, the slice of piece of the city.
right? Who knows, we might have to break out some more pizza. Yeah,
There's plenty of.
let's go sit.
Yeah, we'll be glad.
Okay. So we can chat a little bit more. Our committee will have some discussion then, so, and I'm sure we all are concerned with that piece of property, since I'm sure you are as well. Or match that same concern, so. Okay, anybody else? Okay. Okay, it's both.
More question. No, please go.
Okay, sir.
My name is Stuart Ratliff. I'm a resident of the district. I am a 30-year resident of the county. I'm here on behalf of an application for rezoning CZR5 Gambles 0013. It's a very small parcel on Route 3 North. It's just north of St. Stephen's Church Road and below Churchview Road. It's wooded, it is undeveloped. The owners have inherited it from their parents, who inherited it from their grandparents. They are keeping the rezoning to C4 and C2. And I would just like to reiterate that I understand the comments that are made do not recommend C4 from C2. But the property to the north immediately adjacent is C4 and occupied as a self-storage facility. Property to the west, I think it's a long-standing issue here in the community with a retail site zone C4, which has been under development forever. But it is C4 and a retail use. To the south, there's an industrial use. It's the Comcast cell tower. Telecommunication equipment storage area and switchgear building. To the east, there is a RLD zone property, which is proposed as a future school, mock-up school. And I don't think anyone would disagree that a C4 zoning on that parcel would not be out of character with the neighboring properties, or it would not be uncharacteristic of the zoning immediately adjacent to the property. Thank you.
Thank you.
What was the identifier on that parcel? It's, the application is CZR5 GAM 0013. Thank you.
And I don't, do we have that in the deck for tonight?
We don't.
It's not part of the deck, but
Yeah,
because it's your guys' meeting, you guys can discuss properties at the meeting.
okay, so we'll revisit that during the actual meeting then, right? Okay. Perfect, go ahead. Sure.
Hey, everybody, thank you, and thank you for all your hard work.
Yes.
Whether I'm going to go to the town center advisory committee, so I know what it's about when meeting, discussing the local environment, different problems. On map 6, page 15, of 2024 plan was passed by the county council in April 2024. There's an area, just behind the MARC train station, that's identified as 1405 Arundel Road, utilized by Ferguson Trenching Company. Mr. Ferguson is to my left. And I appreciate the support that we've had from planning and zoning on the rezoning the property and the two different zones, one for historic property and one for historic, according to your information. And then from the power lines to the south, recommendation is for industrial zoning to make sure that we have a allowable use zoning. Ferguson Trenching has been there since 1992 and has 240 employees at the time. The one inaccurate thing is that according to the map, the zoning in the front was supposed to be a historic mix, not straight historic mix. When I look at your information, you have two historic classifications and you have one historic industrial classification. So I just wanted to make clear that according to the town center maps, I brought them with me to point them out. That's down if you'd like, over there. It's very, very clear on there that we are looking for the historic mix. All of the straight historic zoning is to the east of the railroad tracks, the area that's historic. In our particular area where 1405 Arundel Road is located, there's a mix of various businesses. What the historic mix allows is a little bit higher use than the other properties in that area, which we can all agree that that was the intent of the other town center, to have a little bit of a higher use, higher density of uses, and that's what that historic mix allowed in the properties in that particular area. So again, I just wanted to make sure that we properly couch that property as a historic mix rather than historic. And I don't know if it was something that was missed or why there are two indications for just straight historic on your rezoning maps. The second property that I'm here for is 487 Burns Crossing Road, which is open space. It requested an R2 zoning. And it's 27-acre parcel that we've been negotiating with Anne Arundel County for the purpose for a park. And we all know that there's a need for additional parks in the area. It's 27 acres of open space. And the issue is how the county calculates their allowable purchase price versus what the owners feel the value of the property is. There's quite a distinction there. The R2 zoning is somewhat unrealistic because there is no public water or sewer service in the area. The only thing you can do would be well and septic. And the intent is to sell the property to the county if we can agree on a right price. Problem is when we go and have the property appraised, it appraises over based on open space and a farm, and that appraises a much lower value than an R2 property has. R2 property would support a higher valuation that would allow the county to come up in price and offer a price more commensurate with what the owner is interested in selling the property for. So that's the reason that we're requesting an R2 zoning. It's not necessarily to develop it, but basically for appraisal purposes of valuation, so that the county and the seller can come to a more median agreement as to the valuation of that property. If you're spending $11 million down in for the giant food for a park, and you're spending $12 million, for the new park. It seems like $1.5 million purchase price for 27 acres is a bargain. There's very few open space opportunities that large in this county. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for your service, everybody, as well. And thanks for the county as well for going through this process.
Thank you. And I gave you an extra 2 minutes there, since you were talking about 2 properties.
I appreciate that.
That's for the record. My passive aggressive timer went up, but we're good.
I heard it, I was wondering. Hard knows I can talk.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kinley Gray. I'm here on behalf of the property owner at 348 Baldwin Avenue in Odenton. This is application 0001, request for OTCI on a property that is currently developed with the manufacturing facility. It's been there since at least the 1970s. It's operating at a non-conforming use. The property owner is seeking to expand this property and keep his, many employees in the Odenton area on his property. But the non-conforming use governs how much it can expand, and what has been recommended for this particular area would not allow continued sort of expansion of industrial uses. This is a corner of Odenton that basically backs up to the fort and is north of Odenton Road. It's backs to Old Odenton Road, and it's across the street from the DPW facility. We think industrial zoning is appropriate there to continue with the, to conform the long-standing use to the existing zoning and allow upgrades to the property, including potentially improved stormwater management along this property, allowing this employer to stay in Odenton.
Can you just say the address again?
Sure, 348 Baldwin Avenue.
Baldwin, okay. Just want to make sure I have that right. Okay. Okay, thank you. Any others? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Patrick Allen. I'm the attorney for Eastern Performance Cycles, which is located at 1318 Defense Highway. Eastern Performance is currently zoned C1 and has been operating under a non-conforming use certificate of W2 for at least the last 25 years, I think likely 30. They're a longstanding community member in the Staples Corner area, and they are seeking C4 zoning. I spoke at the SAC meeting back in May and supported that, and we received, I think it was a 9-2 hit with 2 extensions. We've since gone through the public comment process, and to my knowledge, all the comments received were positive and in support of our rezoning application. Eastern Performance is predominantly engaged in the sale of motorcycle parts and accessories and golf carts, and seeks to adapt to a changing consumer market by expanding its operations to sell low-speed vehicles. And in order to do that, they would need to obtain C4 zoning to get a dealer's license. So they're simply seeking to expand their business operations to better serve the customer's market and service this growing demand for these vehicles. In addition, C4 covers most of, if not all, of the existing uses under the W2 non-conforming use that they're currently operating under. So we feel that it better fits the operations that are currently going on the ground. And so we're seeking C4 zoning for that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to Belleville. Any others? Okay,
And if you're tuning in online, feel free to use the raise hand function and we can call on you then.
I'm going to assume no, so we'll go ahead and close public comment. And then move on for our next agenda item.
Okay, so we're gonna move into then reviewing the draft plan that the SAC members have received. And again, the public will be able to review the plan, beginning in early September. And then again, pulling back from that slide I showed earlier, you'll be able to provide public testimony, at a future date in October. So as we go through the plan, again, we're looking for ultimately consensus. So now that we've reached the end of this process, again, we'll look to see if everybody's sort of nodding their head in agreement. If not, we'll go to a vote. And because this is one of our policy decisions, we're looking for that threshold of a 2/3 vote to move forward with that. Just a recap of what the plan is and isn't. We started this process evaluating community assets and needs, what folks like about living in the area, what could be improved. The committee then, during their time here, they created a vision statement, and again, you'll see that in the plan itself. We've developed recommendations, again, identifying what the good is, what the bad is, and that's happening here in Region 5, and make sure that we continue the good and address the bad. And make sure that then these strategies or these recommendations on how to move forward and really accomplish that vision for the next 20 years has a game plan. So again, how will we implement a lot of these recommendations? They can happen through capital projects, they can happen through policy, they can happen through legislation. We include all that information in the plan as well at the end of the plan, where we identify our recommendations in an implementation matrix, where we also identify who the responsible departments are and what the time frame is and how we're going to measure success for these recommendations. So ultimately, if you can imagine, is at the back of this document, we have this entire list of recommendations, and it really becomes then that menu of options for decision makers over the next 10 or 20 years, based on priority and resources. So what it does not include, though, is necessarily detailed engineering studies, solutions, or cost estimates. As you can imagine, if you were to go to the hardware store right now and come back next week, those prices could change within a week. So clearly, if we're trying to forecast what some of these solutions are, we don't have those cost estimates. Those will be developed then when we do any feasibility studies or any additional studies in the future, which typically have a public process. And ultimately, this is not the school redistricting process. That's the Anne Arundel County Public Schools. A few of us have been out in the community doing events, and we hear from public, they're like, "Oh, planning and zoning, you're doing zoning. That sounds like school, that's redistricting." And we say, "No,
Guys.
that's the school district." So again, as you won't you won't necessarily see that information here. We do touch on it just to sort of, again, let folks know where you can find more
But if you
information.
do wanna find info about that, you go to the aacps.org website, right?
Yep.
So.
Okay. So the Region 5 plan is part of the round 3 region planning process. We've had 2 other rounds where we've addressed planning issues in regions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. We're currently working on 5, 8, and 9, or sorry,
7 and 9.
7, yeah. So we're currently working on 5, 6, and 8, okay? So this is the last batch of region plans, part of this region planning process. You're welcome to visit the other plans and see what they look like, but again, is the format for these region plans are really gonna look very identical, where we have an introduction. Again, is where we just sort of lay out what the purpose is of the region plan, what its relationship to Plan 2040 is, and it includes the vision statement. We're starting big picture. We also then have a chapter on demographic data, and we provide community descriptions, where we identify what the existing conditions are within these communities as designated by Plan 2040, which was the countywide master plan that was adopted about 40 years ago. And we also then provide some information about how we anticipate it growing or not growing and what needs to be preserved in the future for these areas. So I'm going to go through the chapters, and this is the SAC's opportunity to provide some feedback on those chapters before we then move on to the next chapter. So I'll pause we'll bite off 2 chapters at a time here. So did anybody have any comments or questions about the introduction and existing conditions chapters? No? Okay. The next chapters are, then we get into our topical chapters. So if you've been following along, we worked with the SAC starting back in really November is when we started to touch on the topical chapters, talking about cultural resources, the natural environment, housing, transportation, healthy economy, recreation and parks. That's where you'll find a lot of the information that was presented to the SAC here. And then again, is the solutions are where you can find those then in the implementation matrix at the end of the document. So again, within the natural environment, built environment, we're just kind of laying that groundwork, that baseline information of existing conditions here based on these topics. So any questions or concerns with these 2 chapters?
I was happy to see the dairy farmers mentioned 7 times. The first thing I looked.
Your word, sir.
Yeah. Didn't solve the problem, but at least we wrote it down.
If only it was right.
Okay, Jim?
I have a question, maybe this is in the right spot, but there was mention in the draft about, an overlay for the, Javos branch. And I was just curious what was intended by that, because sometimes there's so many overlays in the county, it makes it a little bit confusing, and I was just wondering if there's any clarity on that specifically.
I think that's, we can come back to that when we talk about the strategies, but I think really briefly is that's something that we need to figure out as a county amongst various departments and identify what that actually looks like, what the policy or legislation would be.
Mark, does this cover the sections of around page 44, 50 and 52, or is that the implementation of the building?
The matrix is what you're referring to?
I don't know what the matrix is.
What was the page again?
The first one is page 44, the second is page 50.
Oh, that's built
And
environment.
52, it all has to do with B10. Or the BE10.
You said 44.
Yeah. You can take that at the top, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Make it a little faster for you.
okay. So 40, and your question is this page
It's about the
44?
last item in those bullet points, the goal BE10 detail policies,
Mhm.
then relates to page 50 and 52, specifically the cut through the from Two Rivers through the forest and on to Cronston. There's BE10.
Yeah, so B 10 is from Plan 2040.
Yeah.
Right? And we're just saying then, again, the following transportation goals from Plan 2040 are relevant to the work here in Region 5. So I should have mentioned this too at the beginning, is the region plans aren't meant to be redundant to Plan 2040. So if there's a recommendation in Plan 2040 that, or let me say this, is if there was an issue in Region 5 that's really a countywide issue, then we would just sort of defer to Plan 2040. We wouldn't state a new recommendation here in this region plan. Does that?
Well, I mean, in your email to us, you particularly pointed out this, the BE10 is something that we should look at and think about.
So B 10 for the region plan, not B 10 here for Plan 2040.
So we're not making any recommendations or comments about the,
We will for BE 10 in Region 5, not BE 10 for Plan 2040.
That's within the, we'll get to that when we get to the matrix.
Yeah.
At the end.
the matrix.
Yep,
Okay.
the matrix, yeah.
Yeah.
So page 87 into 91. When we get to that section,
Right, so
we can come back to
think
the.
so, because I'm sitting next to you, I can see what is handwritten on the paper. Page 52, it's a bullet point about Conway Road improvements, that's, yeah, okay.
Although it's,
Yeah,
common.
mhm.
And that was an item that we did not come to, a consensus on when we went through the survey. So it, those are one of the 3 items that we will discuss tonight too.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is only identifying what has been, you know, what the state or the county has identified as things that should be looked at. This is not related to whether you've made the recommendation.
Okay, I just wanna make sure before, my head is counted as nodding. I know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Totally.
So again, we're only within the chapters, within the topical chapters, we just highlight the goals from Plan 2040. These aren't the goals of Region 5.
Sure.
It's like all the background information that leads up to the matrix.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's
a
like,
lot of background.
yeah, it's a lot of like giving you a roadmap to like what other things the county has done to support all of this too, so.
All right, any other questions? And again, Alice and Jill, feel free to chime in too if you have any questions or comments. And Sam, if you could just check to see if they've got, they want if it types anything in. Okay, moving on then to healthy communities. This is again where we just talked about some of our public facilities here within the county, recreation and parks, our aging and disability services, as well as again, just touching on schools. They have their own educational facilities master plan and processes. And then within the healthy economy, just touching on economic development programs that can help support economic development here in Region 5. So, any questions or comments on those 2 chapters? Good. Okay, then the last 2 chapters here is our implementation chapter, right? Where the previous chapters have really laid out that baseline information, talk about what the issues are within Region 5. And this is then that menu of options or recommendations on how to move forward to address some of the issues here within Region 5. The public has had the opportunity to review all of these strategies. Again, I think the first questionnaire went out in February and the next one came out in the springtime. So I don't think these are necessarily new. And then the committee then had the opportunity to review these again, but then with the information from the public comments. So we provided the SAC a survey monkey, and we said, here's the public sentiment, here's how everybody voted on each one of these recommendations. Do you still support it? Do you have any tweaks? Or do you want to discuss it some more? So I'm gonna hold that for just 1 second, because there were, out of, I think, the 45 strategies or so, there were 3 that the committee said, wait, let's just hold on and let's talk about this some more. We need some more context or information before they can support this recommendation moving forward. And then lastly is our appendix section. Again, we want to document all the outreach that we've done with the community, all the public feedback that we received. And then within the plan itself is where you would find a planned land use map, as well as a development policy area and overlay map. Those would be maps within the document, but then we also want to identify where we're making, or where the changes are actually happening. So somebody has sort of that cheat sheet or those breadcrumbs to identify, you know, if they were looking at an older map and now looking at a new one, sort of better understand why there were these changes. So we include those 2 maps in the appendix, as well as a table that provides parcel information, as well as the justification from Office Planning and Zoning, the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, as well as the Planning Board. And then if County Council has any amendments, we include some additional information there as well. So I know the appendix was a little thin for you all, the SAC, when you were initially reviewing this. But again, is any comments so far on the implementation or appendix before we jump into then the actual strategies within the implementation chapter or matrix? All good? Okay. So just to recap all the comments that we had received when we had put out the draft strategies and questionnaire. Really, it boils down for the natural environment, just making sure that we're protecting the environment, that there are opportunities then to restore the quality and the number of environmental resources within Region 5. Built environment, I'm sure y'all, I'm not preaching to the choir here, right? Is limit development and traffic, folk, and even chicken restaurants. Well, Maryland Gray was a bit of it. You know, and then conversely though, is we did hear from folks that said we do need more affordable housing, or housing that is affordable in this region. We heard from folks that said that their kids had graduated, but they can't buy a home in the community because it's so expensive. So right, there is then this balance of limiting development, but how do you provide housing that is affordable for everybody here in Region 5 and the county, and making sure then that any new developments have amenities for the community to use. Folks were also interested in mixed use development. We do have a couple mixed use areas, or designated mixed use areas within Region 5, primarily up at the Odenton Town Center. And saw that there was this opportunity to reuse underutilized buildings, or buildings that might be, say, 1 story that maybe they're not being used to their highest and best use, and maybe you can get some more utility out of that. Folks are very active in Region 5, and they want to see more bicycle and pedestrian facilities, more connections within neighborhoods. Again, as if you're driving around Region 5, you might drive into a cul-de-sac, and getting yourself back out to the main road might take a little bit of time. So people really brought up the idea of connecting a lot of these cul-de-sacs by trails potentially, or if there are other opportunities to use any common space or public right-of-ways. People were in favor of that. And folks also are interested in increased public transportation, increased routes and reliability. And regarding the Healthy Communities chapter, again, the community was really interested in more community facilities, obviously more parks, community centers, splash pads, a lot of things so that folks could get out and recreate within the community, but also if there were opportunities for passive recreation, just even more hiking trails, items like that. And then within the healthy economy, opportunities for redevelopment rather than developing on green fields, and supporting local, small and diverse businesses. Were again, the major themes of public comments during these, the questionnaire for draft strategies. So here we're gonna touch on, three strategies that, again, the SAC sort of flagged and said, we're not comfortable moving forward just yet. We want to talk about these a little bit more. So the first one was a strategy to implement recommendations from the Two Rivers Community Access Point Feasibility Study. So again, what we had heard from the community is there's only one road in, one road out for Two Rivers. And if something were to happen, how do we get additional access? So the county has already completed a study back in 2022, I believe, and this was the alternative that the preferred alternative for an additional route connecting the Two Rivers community. So again, the SAC, you all may not have had that information back when you were initially reviewing this strategy. But now with this information and again, provided the link to the study and directed you to specific pages where the study talks about the preferred alternatives. Any additional thoughts on this recommendation? Are you comfortable moving forward with this? Again, the study itself, I think, had 160 public comments. Recommendations were reviewed by a study team. And it did meet several criteria that the study had laid out as well. So again, as the recommendation is, since the study has been completed, to now move forward and implement those recommendations.
I don't support this at all. I don't support plowing through the forest and over the Patuxent River. And also dumping all of this traffic that's gonna come to and from Two Rivers into a tiny shopping mall. That's not built for that, and it already has to bear surprise influx of traffic from the Riverwalk community. And if you drive through there, it's just chock-a-block of cars now.
Well, can I point out that the traffic is not going to increase because the road is wide, because Conway Road is wide. You still have the same amount of traffic.
Is this Conway Road that's on the map,
Yes,
or
sir.
is this the one from Myers Station?
No, sir,
across
this is
the boulevard?
Conway Road.
Oh, okay.
This is the alternative, that's this says alternative 7, so it's connecting sort of south of Conway Road.
I'm sorry. So.
Is it Conway
so
Road?
It's just like the imaginary, I don't know. I was involved, with the studies Conway Road.
Okay,
The feasibility studies for Conway Road
sure.
to be improved as the, image shows here. So forgive me, I thought that's what this was. So where's this imaginary road?
Yeah,
I don't understand at all. I thought I did and I don't.
It was part of the Conway study.
All of the orange is new road, right? And then you're.
But is it
What
Conway
is,
Road?
it's not Conway, it's, you know where Nautilus Diner is?
Yes.
It's that like industrial park-ish. Whatever you wanna identify that as.
So,
It's gonna come out where the Exxon is on Route 3. The Exxon, the Dunkin' Donuts, all that stuff. The post office.
I got you there.
Oh, okay, so this is on a circle, and that's on a circle around the back,
I don't-
they have a back
No.
road already.
It wouldn't
It's
come
south.
out by the,
Affecting those trees.
That's farther north. That's the Nautilus, that's,
The Nautilus is further north. That's on Conway.
the,
right, so this is gonna dump them onto Cronson, or connect with Cronson.
Crompton
Which
is
is
where the
where-
Exxon is.
The
Right, the
Exxon,
post
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
So,
The
But
post
that's
office.
because of the trees
It
and all the
would
wildlife do that.
I thought it was showing it connecting through when I was looking at it before.
Yeah, so Cronson Boulevard,
Does Cronson
Right
would
here.
connect through to Professional Boulevard to the north, I
It
think.
doesn't connect, actually. You have to go back out on 3 to get up.
I know currently.
Yeah.
But I think the study might have showed it connecting.
okay, but there hasn't been, a feasibility study done for this yet, has there?
Yes, they came up with, I think, maybe 20 alternatives. And that's, this preferred alternative is 7B. This is the feasibility study.
Which comes out at the post office.
Basically, yes, a brand new road, a brand new bridge, and a cut through the forest.
So again, the question is, we've heard from the community that there needs to be another access point for Two Rivers, another connection. The county has conducted the feasibility study and identified a preferred alternative. So what if the committee is not supportive of implementing the recommendations from the feasibility study that the county completed a couple years ago, what would the alternative be? Or what is your recommendation for addressing another access point for Two Rivers?
I say the county needs to go back to the drawing board. Off the top of my head, improvement on Conway seems to me the only alternative. Instead of plowing through a new road, and a bridge and into a shopping center that's not built. Everyone coming north on Route 3, if they have an opportunity not to go to Conway, the turn before that, they all will.
I'm not gonna go that way. Yeah.
You know,
Right. Let me ask a question,
Mhm.
because I thought I was in the know, and apparently I'm not, and so now I'm confused. It was my understanding that Conway Road was to be improved and widened with walking paths on one side, but that in an emergency situation, that paved road that is widened could be used for emergency access in or out.
That's only one way in though. The purpose of this
I understand, but
study
when
was
I
for
did
the
it right
second
now, well,
way in. So say a tree, multiple trees fall down on that road, right?
Mhm.
That's the only way in.
mhm.
So this was to, the recommendation, the transportation facility planning study that was completed for a second means into and from Two Rivers is what, Mark had included in reference to this individual item. And
So-
it's tough because there's already been a county process completed for this measure that included county, public input, right? So I personally have a little bit of a difficult time, cause I didn't actually, like, I didn't know about this and I didn't provide input. But at the same time, I don't wanna discount all of the public input that was placed into this, especially given it's probably the Two Rivers folks who live there, right, that provided input. So, and I know just in a life safety component, they need a second means in, right?
I'm just thinking about stuff now.
It's tough because, a lot of times with these items, you end up with multiple lanes of things going on, right? We have our SAC recommendations, but there's also these other items that have to happen. So,
And there is already the capital project for Conway Road, right? So that's
But only
capital
one
project.
part of it.
And so that's being worked on, right? So it's fixing the existing access and now it's how do we provide additional access to Two Rivers? And again, a study recently completed by the county that had public comment. So,
Okay.
I think the negative and no opinion percentages are larger than the support of. So I'm not sure this is a ringing endorsement.
so one thing too is we did receive a lot of, or I should say, many of the strategies received high sort of offered no opinion. Maybe people just didn't know enough to provide an opinion. They don't live in that geographical area. It doesn't affect them. So there may be a variety of reasons why somebody may have opted to select offered no opinion. rather than the actual disagreed.
Were other options offered during this? I am flabbergasted that this got past me.
Yeah,
Would you say there was 20 options?
I think
Yeah,
so.
let's see.
Um,
I'm looking to see if there's an existing traffic analysis. No.
Where's the position that neighborhood is just hard? Yeah.
Well, I understand,
It
but
is.
people
It's
in
your,
the-
like,
but people
green
in the
blocked,
community
basically.
Other than Two
Green zones
Rivers,
everywhere.
I have
Wetlands.
never heard of this. And the gentleman sitting behind us, who lives in the community that I live in too, closer to Two Rivers than I, says he's never heard of this feasibility study or the comment period for this, and I'm sorry, forgive me, I just.
So what are our
Whose
options?
whose
If we,
property is this going through? I mean,
Kind of a comment on this specifically.
I would, sorry, sir, I would rather just keep it to the SAC for right now, because I think ultimately, I hear what folks are saying. What are our other options with this?
it kind of doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, because this is what's been chosen.
Because
Yeah.
that's the thing, is like, if we don't recommend it,
we would let the planning advisory board know, but I think this is something that the Office of Planning and Zoning would, the Office of Planning and Zoning supports this recommendation. You all as SAC, again, can include it in the letter that you would be sending to the planning advisory board saying that you don't support this recommendation. And like, I would say, and what, right? So we know that there is this issue of trying to provide additional access to Two Rivers. So we're looking for you then to say, well, why don't you want to support this? And what would be your recommendation going forward
Well,
to address that issue?
without us reviewing the 20 options they reviewed, going back to what you said, Christina, right? We can't, it's like, we're ignoring whatever work they put into this and public opinion without even looking at the 20 options. I mean, it seems silly. I mean, we cannot support it, but it sounds like it's, the cat's out of the bag, right? It's a done deal.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any choice.
yeah,
I mean, I agree with you, but I don't know what the other 20 options is.
It's not doing it.
Not doing it yet, public
Yeah.
safety.
I mean, they approved a project for this build out in Two Rivers. And with knowing there's only one way in and one way out. It's like building a house with one door. They knew that.
Is there any way, what am I trying to ask? How much private property does this run across? Is this all, is the road, the orange line, is the road I'm looking at, is all of that county land? Is it county, just using county land, or does that? Is this going
it's
to
probably Two
require?
Rivers.
Yeah, I think it runs along, it may run along the northern edge here,
And then
the Two Rivers property. And then, again, I think it runs on the south side of the water reclamation facility.
Oh, over there, okay.
You're worried about eminent domain?
Well, I am.
Taking land? Freak out, right?
Where the cars coming in, because there's businesses over there, back there, and back there, so. What house back on the water?
They all have to turn at the end sign. That's the only.
Well, clearly they would have to, somehow or another, I don't know. I'm with you, I understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there a right for this evaluation talking about if any additional property has to be acquired or?
It doesn't look like it does.
The study, I mean, the study gets into all of that information.
Right.
Right.
So that, the detailed study would be to answer some of those questions potentially.
Say that again?
In the detailed study that you're studying would be how much property would have to be obtained.
And that's in the study,
Yeah.
right? So that's already been analyzed.
And crash locations.
When was all of this done?
So again, I think this is when it got published, 2022.
2021.
And you know, I went over there looking at homes about 7 months ago, and that's not even what the salespeople were saying, because I asked about what was going to be a second interest. They were saying, oh, you're gonna go out on the back road and it's gonna come, you know, how I don't know what the road that is, but you could, instead of you going this way to into tours, or you can go straight and go down this other road. They said, oh, well, the car's gonna dump in here. And I was like, well, you know, that's more congestion. So I don't even know if they know. Or if they do know, they're not saying anything.
So do you want to take a vote then?
Yeah, I was just
And-
gonna say, I think we need to move this to a vote to document it, and then I think if we can't move past like recommending it, I think we will have to include in the letter
Hmm.
reasoning why.
Yeah, and what you
For sure.
recommend. Yep.
And how do we identify what we recommend? Go back to a study? Cause this was completed, only thing I can think of is this was completed in 2021, and there's a hell of a lot more traffic on Route 3 right now. Than
This dropped in 7A,
2021,
7B.
7B.
yeah,
There was, looked at the table of sunrise, it was either 7A or 7B were the last two choices, right?
Right, and go with the, no additional pedestrian facilities, keep it as narrow as possible. Essentially.
yeah, so it's like basically just secondary access. Which that makes sense because you wouldn't be pushing people towards Route 3, right?
There isn't gonna be any choice but to push people to where around.
No, I mean pedestrian traffic, like you shouldn't be on a bike on Route 3, is what I was kind of getting at, so,
Well, no,
okay. Do we have a motion to move this to a vote to anything? Anybody wanna make a motion? I cannot make a motion.
Make a motion to support the strategy or make a motion to, not support the strategy.
I'll make a motion to support the strategy, really to get a vote to happen.
Yeah.
Just because somebody did a lot of work. I'm just going back, I just don't know the 20 options. We don't have the time to go back and review it and come back with our own recommendation, I don't think. I mean, clearly they spent months on this and
the
I'm guessing.
the only other options, being familiar with the community is private property, is to take people's private property. Or
They
to
would
come out,
buy, they would buy it. The
right,
county's not gonna take it.
I didn't mean, I'm sorry. You're
Well,
right.
but
You would be stuck cutting through people's private property.
You know, if they wanted
Is there a
to.
second?
Yeah.
That's the thing, you've got, if you're looking at a map and you're looking at Two Rivers, south of it, you've got Meyer Station Road. Meyer Station Road cannot handle the traffic, and that's what
That's what they were
I know,
saying, yeah.
I know, they're telling you you're not supposed to be telling me that, but, but Meyer Station Road cannot handle that traffic. I mean, there's no shoulder, it's a 2-lane road. And the people with Two Rivers are going to keep pushing for.
As they should, to be honest with
I'm
you.
not
Yeah.
saying, yeah.
There's too many folks in there with one way in and out, so.
So as much as I hate to say it, this is a lesser evil.
Do we have a second?
This at least
Thank
was.
you.
We made a motion. Do we have a second? And folks, I would like to just move it to a vote. We can always come back, right? But I'd like to move it to a vote, because if it doesn't, there's no traction, right, we gotta document some stuff, so.
I'll
Are you
say,
seconding? Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move this to a vote. All in favor?
Or,
And then Alice and Jill, I don't know if you wanna say aye or raise hands, how did you wanna do that before?
so 629, Jill, so
Yeah.
2, 4,
And Alice.
6. And we have 9 members, I think, yeah. So that is the 6/3 majority.
2/3.
2/3.
2/3. What did I say? Yeah. Sorry, 6 out of 9, so 2/3 majority, okay? So this recommendation can move forward.
I think we can still annotate in our letter to the PAB our concerns over this, though. Of how, correct, like,
Yes,
and I also think it's a good thing for all of us to keep track of. in the future too.
I'll tell you, my solution for this is to put an emergency access road that emergency services have access to, not to create a new traffic throughway.
You put that on Conway?
No, not on Conway, on the road they're proposing to build across,
Oh,
that they just voted on.
oh, you mean just for the emergency, not for
Yes,
commuters?
sure, they want an emergency, they want a Second Avenue, yes, but it's not a thoroughfare.
And so,
That
to keep us,
Yep.
moving forward, we're gonna move on to B
All right.
11,
So-
folks.
So again,
And we see you, but I'm sorry, but we can't, I'm sorry, what?
The vote. Six.
I had 6 members for 3 against.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was a strategy again, 65% offered no opinion to evaluate, so we. Office planning and zoning based on some feedback from the community as well as the comments that you all had left. Evaluate whether Weiner Road should have two-way traffic. Right now, it's one way going eastbound. And the issue is there's no westbound route because of the BG&E right of way. So if you were to want to go westbound, you'd have to come out to Odenton Road or Wall Chapel Road. This was an item that Angela had brought up in one of our SAC meetings. So again, 65% offered no opinion, probably aren't aware of this small little road or this issue that some of the community members in this area deal with. So.
And I know myself, I was like, what is this? I have no clue where this is. It's buried in the
It is,
neighborhood.
and it is they have homes on kind of on the side on one side and then there's some land on the other side. So, I mean, I think it could be a two-way road.
And I think after Mark and Sam had explained this a little bit better, I know myself, it made me feel a little bit better about it. It was like, okay, it's access, that's what it's for. Yeah.
The other thing about the way this is worded is it's evaluate. So there could be some evaluation done and maybe it does grow legs and it does become a recommendation in future plans. Or maybe it's determined that no, it's not feasible and it can't happen. So when we say evaluate in a recommendation, I would say it's the lowest level kind of recommendation that you can make. It's not that strong. It's saying, some people have identified a problem, let's take a peek at it and see what we think.
Mhm. It would initiate a feasibility study?
Not
Or no?
necessarily.
Yeah.
Did we vote, when we talked about this at the meeting, and didn't we vote on this at the meeting? And was it the vote at the meeting, is that sufficient, or do we have to have another vote? Cause 26.
Again, if you want to nod your head in support of this, I'll recognize that, or if you want to take a formal vote.
But I mean, are we doing this because the surveys? numbers
We're
are-
taking-
Surveys that.
Yeah, for those that took the survey, for the SAC members that took the survey, indicated that let's see if we need to discuss this more.
No, it's not in the meeting.
It's several meetings.
No, this was actually an email survey that OPZ sent out to us, a month-ish ago. Where we went through, there were, 44 items or something like that?
This was the survey that you had missed out on.
Well, I mean, was this the meeting for the going across the right of way, and we talked about this at the meeting, making this.
We may have brought it up as an
Okay.
issue,
Yeah.
and now we worked it into a strategy, put it out for the public to review, provide us feedback. And again, we provided you then the feedback from the public that we had received, the way that they voted. And then when the SAC took their survey to vote on whether to support this strategy, we did not reach that 2/3 threshold. So that's why it's been flagged to discuss tonight.
Okay.
Can I make a motion then? I'd
Yeah,
like to make a motion that we approve B11 strategy to simply evaluate whether this should be two-way traffic, which is gonna happen sometime in the future. That's my proposal.
For a second? Okay, Jim with a second? Okay. So we'll go ahead and move this to a vote. Wait for you to get your, there you go.
So
Oh,
6:35.
hold on, Alex. We don't, we don't, Alex. Okay, all in favor?
That is everybody.
Yeah, that's everybody.
Alice, And.
And
Just want to show
Jill?
that we registered Jill.
maybe Jill.
Oh, here she is. Okay.
Raising her hand. We're doing a visual, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, any opposed?
Okay,
No?
great.
Right, so with that, we will go ahead and include that
Sounds good.
as written.
Okay, the last strategy then, again, that didn't meet that 2/3 threshold when the SAC provided their thoughts, is the strategy to partner with State Highway Administration, construct noise barrier walls along Maryland 32 and Maryland 3. Okay, so the Odenton Town Center Master Plan, which was adopted last year, had the recommendation to build noise walls along Maryland 32. So again, is recognizing that this is probably an issue, not exclusive to just the Odenton area, but for other residential areas that abut major highways. We said, let's just carry this forward and address it as Maryland 32 and Maryland 3. So again, to get a good head nod, is everybody supportive of this strategy?
And would you be consulting with the people that live alongside Route 3
Yeah.
or attending? Okay, so it's not without input from them. Okay.
Okay,
Did you-
Chuck had none? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. We don't need to take a vote on them. Everybody looked to be
We
supportive.
do have a chat.
Okay,
Don't know.
Probably says.
yeah, Alice, she's on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was consensus. Okay. Great. Okay, so that is the region plan, right? So covering the introduction, the existing conditions, the topical chapters, the implementation matrix that include the strategies, the ones that we flagged tonight, just because we needed to discuss them some more, as well as the appendix. So at this point, we would be looking for the SAC to express your support for the draft plan and recommend sending it to the planning advisory board for review. So
Need a
we
motion for
we
that?
would need a motion.
We
for
sure
it.
do.
I'll be happy to make a motion that we.
Fired tonight.
We accept the draft plan and push it on to the advisory board.
Awesome.
Okay,
Move to a vote. Get ready, Alice and Jill. All in
I
favor?
think Jill's already voted, Al's already voted probably, yeah.
Not yet, not yet,
okay,
All in favor?
okay, so that is 9
Okay,
unanimous.
9 for 9, okay.
Okay.
Any opposed? No. Okay, with that, we will go ahead and recommend this to PAB.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna hand it off to.
And we should add that, like, we'll include a letter to PAB with the recommendation, so, OPZ will write something up and I'll look at it and everything, and then, well, I'll be sure to add something in about E10.
I think Stephen's comment should be in there, I think it's valid.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
totally.
we will.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely something to be like, by the way, like,
Yeah,
you put us in an awkward position,
yeah.
Right.
yeah.
cause it's kind of a funky thing to work through, so.
Okay, so all the mapping, Sam is our mapping guru. He's taken this from the very start, working with our GIS team to where we are today. He knows this like the back of his hand. He wears his GIS pajamas every night. He is living and breathing all this mapping, so he
You know,
is.
you're this professional.
I just live in the mapping data now, and I won't key you into the plight and all the corrections and stuff I found, but now we'll move into the comprehensive draft zoning map that was presented to the public. We had that month-long feedback period where we had whether you were out to the public. We sent letters about consistency changes, comprehensive zoning letter recommendations, as well as posted in-person drop-in events where members of the public could come visit us and talk with us one-on-one about their concerns and provide their feedback on mapping recommendations. from that process, we had approximately 450 pieces of feedback received. The vast majority did come from the web viewer, but we did get a good attendance at the drop-in session as well as, people calling us and emailing us as well. We would respond to them, answering questions or providing additional information if it was available. To start off, we're just gonna kind of talk about the general feedback we received throughout the region. Typical feedback we've received from members of the public included, a desire to protect the natural environment, comments in support of expanding the OS zoning district, comments about regional infrastructure and public facilities capacity, comments about traffic conditions on ND3 and Conway, as well as, as Mark mentioned before, comments about the school redistricting effort. That link I provided will take you to the main website. There was a recent recommendation provided to the Board of Ed if people would like more additional information on that. In addition to that, we also were getting phone calls and emails from consistency change recommendations. Property owners contacted us to discuss, impacting property taxes, increasing development potential, removal and retention of the OS zoning district from properties in the presence of environmentally sensitive resources. So again, those were just the general feedback, but we'll get into community specific as well as site specific feedback we received throughout that process. And to kick us off, we will talk about the Ownton community. Generally, what comments we saw were mostly comments as relate to owner requests within the Ownton Town Centers and how that ultimately is impacted by the Ownton Town Center, as well as the recommendations provided in that master plan. And that'll take us to our first application. And I'll preface this, when we talk about site specific, these applications and properties we bring up were either going to be new applications that we received, properties that received a significant amount of feedback, properties that there are a couple properties that did not receive consensus from the first mapping exercises you guys participated in, as well as other properties that we wanted to bring up for discussion. And that takes us to our first application. This is 1405 Ownton Road. This is where Ferguson Trenching is located. This was an application you guys discussed previously. If you guys remember that we brought up a development proposal that was included with their application for a training facility. They were requesting a split zoning. OPZ has since revised that zoning recommendation. Previously, we had recommended that the split zoning occur from the corner of the church parcel to the west and connect to that other corner to split zone the property OTCI and OTCH. Again, OPZ is revising that recommendation so that OTCI will only apply to based upon the development proposal. There's a proposed subdivision to subdivide off that historic home that fronts on Ownton Road. The revision in the recommendation is to have that subdivision follow, or the split zoning follow that subdivision proposal where OTCH will only apply to that front property while the rest of Ferguson Trenching would be OTCI. So bringing that up to you guys because it is a revised recommendation and want to get your guys' input as well as any recommendation you guys would like to make on that property.
So what you're saying is, because I know we talked about this for an hour, so
Yeah, I remember this
agree
too.
with that. Is you really just cutting off that little notch where the historic home is and letting Ferguson Trenching now use the rest of the property for their training center.
Yeah,
That's the recommendation.
yeah, previously that recommendation, we talked about it where we had the development proposal with the training facility, which had a proposed subdivision. So yeah, now just moving that and removing the split zoning so that those Ownton Town Center zoning districts will only apply to single properties instead
I
of
think
having a
this
split
is a
zone.
great change. But do we need a motion? I mean, do we vote again?
We can just look around and it will say support.
We understand what the gentleman, Lisa, from Ferguson was saying.
The historic mixed use,
Yeah,
can you
and-
explain that a little?
Yeah, and this was the property that Mr. Title had brought up where the original recommendation that we provided was OTCH. Clarified and corrected us saying that the request is actually for OTC historic mix. So you guys can base your recommendation on that. So instead of supporting the OTC, which was currently reflected on the screen, change it to OTC historic mix.
Was that a mistake that we recommended?
So the updated OPZ recommendation can be OTCI for a majority of that property and then OTCH. And if you have our, that's the proposed zoning, sorry.
This?
Is that?
It doesn't show the
It
mix
doesn't
on it.
have, we don't have the historic village mixed lot, but we are gonna be working with the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee later this month to update these two pages actually, in fact. Based on some further discussions with our Office of Law, where we're not going to recommend creating a couple new zoning districts, we will just maintain the historic village mix block
Instead of historic.
instead of, well,
Well, historic.
so
is
historic would be
ordinance.
the base zoning district, but the historic village block would be the overlay
Ah,
for this
okay.
area, which would be similar to this historic village mix that the property owners wants for their property.
And so is what we're looking at, line up with the comment from the representative of Ferguson?
It doesn't line up with what they're asking for.
Mm-mm.
Then I don't understand what they're asking for.
They're asking for mixed. Weren't they asking for mixed?
Yeah,
In
so,
the whole hatched area?
no, just the small historic
Right here
location.
is a historic
Yeah.
house that will be
Yeah.
subdivided. And that will receive the Odenton OTC-H zoning district and historic village mixed block overlay.
Just
So that will happen no matter what.
That's that's the Office Planning and Zoning's recommendation.
but just that little square,
For just the square, the purple will be OTCI,
so that gives them the ability to build
their training facility, correct,
Mhm. So-
here and have access then on their.
Why
So do we need to modify our recommendation at all? Or not?
As long as we're saying it here, it'll be captured on the recording, meeting notes,
Okay,
that again, not, it would be OTCH and the historic village mixed block overlay.
Mhm.
So
Are you saying the yellow square is gonna be developed? Where the house is?
there
It's
is
already
already an
developed.
existing house there.
Right, no.
So will it be protected or?
Give them
Because it's
protected.
not gonna affect, right?
Yes, we're protecting it.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So everybody comfortable with this updated split of the property, zoning split that reflects then the subdivision plan that the applicant has submitted? Okay, all right.
Yes.
did we wanna move on to, what was the number? Baldwin?
Yeah, that's Odenton 1-348 Baldwin Avenue.
Yeah,
That was not included in the presentation because I think there's only one piece of feedback, but we can bring it up on our mapping.
If,
Okay.
tool now.
again, you all had voted on it, so it could be up to the committee whether you want to reopen that discussion based on the.
so we're gonna basically look and see where this is on the map to refresh our memories. Into the multiple hours that we did on this.
So this is not Sam on the cheat sheet that you said?
No,
No.
it is not,
Okay.
this is a new,
Okay. Oh,
or
yeah,
I should say,
okay, yes.
we're revisiting an
Yeah, yeah,
item we
yeah.
chatted about before.
That's,
Is
She's
it
supposed to.
348 Baldwin?
the woman over there spoke to it,
Yes.
right?
Yep, exactly.
Odenton 1.
Yeah, Odenton 1, it's currently within the Odenton core. The request was for Odenton Industrial. And as the applicant's representative stated, it's to expand and support business uses. Citing its location as in one of the corners of the Odenton Town Center and it backs up to Fort Meade. Current OPZ recommendation is to retain it in the core. Based upon its location against other parcels within the core, its proximity to the MARC station. I believe it's outside the TOD. And I'm not sure if the layer is available for the DPAO to reflect that, but
So, and just to show, it's a little difficult with these hash lines that have some similar colors, but this area, the red diagonal line is OTC core. The orange below it is transition, and then the nearest industrial is back at that Ferguson property that we were
So
at
it would be
1405.
spot zoning.
So it would just be this one property that you'd be revisiting to zone without any contiguous zone, light zoning next to it.
but it's already non-conforming, right? So it's already a zoning, it's already doing what it's not supposed to be doing in that area.
Well, now it wants to expand.
But once we expand,
Like how we're talking about it, it's like a person. It wants to expand. I don't want to expand.
that's by where this salt storage, or anything
Behind the firehouse.
by the firehouse. So what's the recommendation by, for GZ?
We keep it as before, as it is now, and we talked about this one before, right? Or is this a new
Yes.
application?
Oh, no, this is, we discussed this in May.
Yeah.
Okay, not seeing a so again, is if you do want to revisit one of these, that we're not bringing to your attention,
Mhm.
we would be looking for a motion to change your
Well, the only
recommendation.
reason you wanna leave it as it is because it doesn't conform to the zoning, not because you don't want the business to expand.
Or was it more?
It's within the core.
It's not near any other industrial.
Exactly.
The other industrial is,
Is to the south
there.
and. to
so
the
there's
north.
no other industrial where they are.
Right, but they've been there forever, so we don't want it to expand, we don't want their business to be profitable. I don't understand why we would care when it's such a small parcel way off the main road. Am I crazy?
So the vision for the Odenton Town Center is, here's the Mark Station. And you can see this gridded street network that is envisioned to become very pedestrian oriented, mixed use, where you have, say, commercial or office on the first floor and residential above. The DPW yard is just across the street. I believe that's currently being surplused with the, again, the intent that future development would look like what's adjacent to it at the Village Editing Station where Baltimore Coffee and Tea is, again, where you have commercial first floor, residential above. Really creating this transit oriented, dense, mixed use type of community.
So by making that
So
industrial, it would go against all of.
that vision that the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee
I'm
has
still
set.
looking at, it's their property, they're a successful business, why would we not want them to continue to be successful when they're pretty far away from all those things you just described?
But where the DPW facility is now, the county's using that, aren't they?
That's the intent.
So, and that's going to become your retail with residential
Well, I thought
above,
they
so
were
would you
moving
want
the
that?
Fire department back there. Last time we talked about it,
Maybe,
they're
maybe.
gonna move the fire department back to give them better access to 175 so they can turn.
Turn the aerial on.
It would be,
I'm just saying what.
be farther away.
Yeah.
I know, it gives them the ability to turn their fire truck without having to stop traffic.
Right.
I'm just saying what they said a couple weeks ago, I don't have
Yeah,
a position, I'm just telling you they said they were gonna.
It still stop traffic on 70.
Yeah, but there's some reason the fire department wants to move back, I don't understand the
I think we're
technical
getting away
details,
from
but I know we talked
this
about it.
property.
They certainly need to increase. the
So-
size.
So let's just loop back to this property here.
Okay.
Noted about the fire department.
Well, we gotta be consistent.
I think that's another thing you can provide public comment on when they do a feasibility study for it.
So again, is there any interest in opening this
Yeah.
back up for discussion?
If it's only me, then I give up, but I'm just saying that.
What is the harm in allowing them to make the change? I guess I'm not
I'm
understanding
with you,
that.
I'm
So
like, I don't understand the harm. of it.
Yeah, so the Odenton Town Center has an advisory committee. They meet monthly. They've just adopted a master plan, just like you all, that has a vision of how they anticipate this area, the Odenton Town Center growing. And their vision includes, at some point, again, when property owners are ready, to redevelop, and the requirements or what's allowable for them to redevelop their property encourages mixed use development. And again, the vision that the Odenton Town Center Advisory Committee settled on was that this area is that core area of where they really want that type of development to happen.
So Mark, what's gonna be the impetus for the property owners to agree with this change? Just they wanna sell their business and get out? Or, I mean, there's a lot of existing small businesses back there. How are you gonna be able to change this whole area over to this new vision? Is it gonna be piecemeal?
It's as private property owners choose, what they choose to do with their property, or if they sell it. But again, the requirements are generous in, density and, really building out that block, because again, like we've talked about, Odenton Town Center is where we anticipate the growth to happen. This is one of the 3 town centers within the county. So, you know, I would sort of advise if recognizing that that a 9-person county executive appointed committee has settled on a vision for this core area to redevelop into mixed use and support the transit that's within a couple of blocks of that site.
But I mean, there's no mechanism, I mean, it's by the property owner.
That's right.
They want to sell.
And
It's not
that's how it is in the
eminent
county,
domain
yes.
or redeveloping the whole area, few blocks at a time. Okay,
So it may never happen, Chuck, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's my.
Exactly.
That's the point you're making.
Yeah.
These
That's
are
why-
like,
Going back to Woodstock.
these are visions, right?
Visions.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, what's the harm, going back to what you said?
Yeah.
So, anyway. We can vote, we can do, what do you wanna do, Christine?
It sounds like we are not reopening this, so,
Okay,
I think we are okay to move on.
okay.
All right, so for the next property, this is 607 Old Wall Chapel Road. This one is being brought back up because during our original mapping discussion, you guys did not come to a consensus.
The last one.
It was the last one, but you guys did, the SAC did not come to a consensus on a mapping recommendation, so bringing that back up now. Just quick existing conditions, property is currently zoned R2, the property owner is requesting R5. I believe the property owner is seeking to do some sort of residential use. To orient you, you have Old Wall Chapel,
But all
Old Wall
the-
Chapel, and then that's Piney Orchard. And it's just right at the, I believe, to the west is right where the Piney Orchard Plan Unit Development boundary ends, so it's just on the outside of that boundary.
So why are 5? Why is OPZ recommending? Because everything's R2, right?
It's R5 on the left. Right.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's the only reason why. The reason why I ask is just because of the road. I happen to take that way to the train station and know it's kind of awful traffic wise. So. It just seems a little, I mean, I know these are
Mhm.
details, right? But it seems to me like it wants to be R2 since it's on that side of Old Wall Chapel Road.
Versus R5,
Yeah,
even though.
What is it
OPC
now?
Says R5.
It's currently zoned R2.
even so,
It is
yeah,
R2 right now.
yeah, because, just because I'm like, how can you fit that many houses and still get onto the street okay, and,
They
think
might
that-
not be able to maximize the density under R5,
yeah,
but they may be getting not enough under R2, like there may be a happy
in
medium.
between, okay,
Especially when you have a triangular shaped property.
Yeah.
They are harder to develop because of the setbacks.
well, in that little
Yeah.
point.
And it's public water and sewer, right, but there's no well and septic there, so.
It should be, is it?
It should be, it's a
Yeah.
orchard.
Yeah, I think there is, so.
So a little over 2 acres, 2.25.
Okay.
So,
I'm okay to go with the OBZ's recommendation.
Yeah,
You wanna head on that?
let's do a vote on them.
yeah, let's do a vote,
Do a vote.
okay.
You
So,
want a motion or just?
sorry, yes.
We need a motion,
Start with
we
a
always
motion.
need a motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we agree with OBZ's recommendation to make it R5.
Jim's second.
And I'm making all the motions.
And.
you are.
Selling that, she's got you next.
Okay, good. Okay.
And
Okay, we'll go ahead and move that to a vote. All right, forgot my role in this. Go ahead and move that to a vote. All in favor? Yes? Aye.
Alice at 7 and Jill's raising her hand so that we're at 8-1. Yeah. Okay, so that passes R5.
What was the one? Opposed?
Yeah, any opposed?
So-
No,
Close, I want to maintain.
well, okay,
So like
they didn't
We-
call opposed. so
yeah.
I just wanted to-
So, so any opposed, does Steve want to raise his hand? Okay, there's your one.
Got it. Okay, great. Moving on then.
Yeah, that would cap off the Odenton community,
Yep.
and now we move into Piney Orchard. We only received 3 pieces of feedback regarding the, feedback actually within the community. We only received 1 comment within the Evergreen Road area, which we'll talk about when we have that as a slide for those Evergreen Road comprehensive zoning applications, as well as a, piece of feedback from a property owner who received a zoning letter, for a piece of property that's within Piney Orchard, but outside the plan unit development. Which, on the next slide, this is 920 Francis Road. It's currently split zone R5 and R15. The original recommendation was to take it to entirely R5, so the property owner received a letter from us for that recommendation. And then he provided feedback saying, no, I believe it should go to R15. OPZ had evaluated the request, and now we are changing our recommendation to R15. Interesting, if we return on the plan unit development layer for Piney Orchard, basically the entirety of the parcel around the parcels was in the PUD, but this parcel was left out of it.
Say that again.
So the plan unit development, Piney Orchard plan unit development. So basically everything around it is within the PUD except this parcel. This parcel is outside the PUD. And to orient you guys to where this is located, it's right across the street from the Gorge Park. So we have those condos to the left and then townhomes to the right, and it's the flag lot that has egress onto Strawberry Lake.
So you're saying that if all of that was done perfectly in the past, it would have already been R15?
Not necessarily, right? It's to the sort of southwest, you have these condos or multifamily. And to the north then are townhomes, which would be your R10. So it is kind of split between an R10 type of zoning and maybe an R15.
Okay.
Where's the R15?
For the townhouse.
To the south.
Townhomes are R15?
Mhm.
Okay.
See if that shows up, yeah,
So we'll
R15.
assume that's what they want to do. They want to do townhouse. How large is the parcel? How many acres?
Parcel is 2.5 acres, 2.38 acres.
I'll make the motion if nobody else wants to, but I don't want to jump ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
There we go.
Told you, John.
All right, John,
Do you want to second it or no?
what your motion is?
To support it.
Support.
I recommend R15.
Okay. Okay, second,
I'll say that.
sure.
So we'll move this to a vote. All in favor? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Jill and Alice are both, you've got.
Alice is.
Yep.
Jill is raising.
Jill is raising her hand.
So, sorry, how many was that?
It's like 8.
8?
Yep.
Okay, and.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so with that, we'll go ahead and recommend her OPZ's recommendations.
Okay, and that's it for Piney
Yep,
Orchard.
that would be it for Piney Orchard. Now we go to Gambrills. Gambrills community received 193 comments.
Wow.
It was actually with the majority of more than half on the owner request for API where they requested C4. They had 117 comments in support of that C4 request. But generally, what we saw, we had comments about concerns about infrastructure and public facilities capacity, given, Route 3 is within Gambrills. We had a couple new applications that we're going to review with you guys, as well as an owner application that had been revised by the applicant. Which I think that's the very next slide. Oh, no, right, Gambrills is a lot larger, and this is the southeastern part that ends at 450. Got feedback on Eastern Cycle's request for C4. We had another new application on Underwood Road as well as comments about removal of OS in that southeastern area of Gambrills. Which takes us to, this is 549 Burns Crossing Road and no number Annapolis. They have a small little parcel that fronts on Annapolis Road. Gambrills 2, this was the owner application that requested MXDN, R15, R10, or R5 or R5. During our mapping discussions, OPZ and the SAC recommended RLD. The owner has since come back and revised their request and is now requesting R2, noting that, R2 is across the street and may be more feasible for the site and community concerns. So bringing up that now because the owner has revised their request, OPZ is still recommending the parcel retain or the property retain RLD zoning. And then opening up discussion for you.
That's well and septic, isn't it? There.
It is on well and septic, and it's outside, it's not in a planned zone either.
And how big is it? So how many could they do with R2?
4.11.
Yeah. 4.1 acres.
They could do 4 homes on R2, or they could do 2.
8.
Oh, 8.
So maybe.
I move that we once again accept OPC's recommendation to maintain RLD.
Okay. Stephen.
If it's RLD, what is that not allow them to do? So with the RLD, what is they, just with what they want, they can develop homes, what is the RLD?
RLD is,
Less homes?
yes.
Okay.
So, but I mean, they couldn't have any house for 4 acres,
They
right?
can have one home, one home.
Even though it's not 5 acres.
legal lot.
It's still a legal lot of record.
Okay,
Okay, so we had a motion,
Motion.
but we didn't have a second. Right?
correct.
I'll second.
Second, Charlie.
So we'll move this to a vote. We're voting on recommending for OPZ in case anybody missed that on the call there. Okay, all in favor? I'm not sure. Let's see.
So 3, 4,
And then Jill has her hand up
6.
and
Yeah.
did Alice?
Yeah, she's,
That was the
That's
newest,
a new-
okay,
it's a new one.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay, so 6, keep going.
and any opposed? We've got 2. Okay, anybody? No?
We should have one.
Abstain? Okay,
Okay, so that passes as well then. Okay. Controls. Oh, since we're in this zone, do you want to just tackle, based on the public comment, there was a question about just to the north of this site was another application, GAM-001.
okay, I was thinking.
Again, the property owner, or sorry, the representative here, requesting, I think, Sam, R2 for the purposes of increasing the appraisal value for then the county to purchase for parkland.
That's the 27 acres, right?
Yes.
What's the recommendation for?
We already talked about this one, right? And we
Yeah.
had said to maintain the RLD.
Yep. Okay,
I
any
guess-
interest in revisiting that? Okay. Okay, Sam.
This next one is one of the, similarly to the previous one, this was one where the SAC did not come to consensus. This is 292 Charles Hall Drive, Gambrills 4. The applicant is requesting R1, OPZ is recommending R1. During our mapping discussions, the SAC did not come to a consensus on a mapping recommendation. I think that the vote was actually split and there was no majority either way. So bringing it back to the SAC to discuss it further.
Can I just make a couple comments on this?
Mhm.
So this property, during the Plan 2040 process, had a planned land use application to upgrade. OPZ did not support that, because when you look at this, this is spot zoning if you're gonna go up to R1. But the council person, for that, councilmanic district did end up doing an amendment. And it's been OPZ's policy that if the council person did the amendment during Plan 2040 to change the planned land use, that we would not try to reverse that during the region planning process. This would not be a place where we would normally recommend R1, but because of that previous decision, it is.
So when did they make the county council person make this?
2021,
Okay.
May of 2021, when the general development plan got updated.
As I remember, we did not approve this change because of the presence of the nearness to the Jabez Creek.
That was a hearty
As opposed
discussion.
to.
Yeah, there's that, the proximity to a
Yes.
off ramp from 30 at
Right.
32, right?
But I went back there, and most of the creek empties out behind Preserve at Severn Run. So there's not, there's a creek there that comes when there's heavy rains, right? We talked about that last time. There's creeks that are creeks and creeks that happen when it rains. I didn't see any evidence of any constant water there, so that's why before I was in support of going along with OPZ. Anyways, because I remember this discussion, I don't want to revisit it all, but that's why I think we got hung up on it, because there was like, is there a creek there or not? And then do we want to go along with OPC's recommendation, which I know is driven by the council, but which tells me it's going to get approved by the council.
There also would be a watershed, right, overlay. In the area potentially.
So that's going back to, I think Jim's comment earlier about a recommendation in the plan. Right, that's simply just a recommendation. There's no, we don't know exactly what that would look like or what the time frame for that would look like and what geographical area it would cover.
Gotcha, okay.
So I'm okay to agree with OPZ, understanding that you guys are driven by the council.
Yeah, it's kind of like we can't,
Yeah,
even if we
this
say no, it's
property
like.
has a unique story.
Yeah.
Okay,
They all
so
do.
is there a motion?
So I'll make a motion that we agree with
Is-
OPC's recommendation.
And I also just wanna ask, is this something that we wanna actually put in the letter that we don't,
You don't.
like, we don't like love that this
Oh.
happened? Cause there's no way that this could be,
You,
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, could this go,
Back.
could it go back?
I mean, anything is possible. I have to say that, it
Yeah.
is. So, I mean, if you all strongly disagree, I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. And just noting that does that change anybody's opinion?
I still vote to go with OPC's
yeah,
recommendation.
let's see what the vote says and then we can
We got a
add some
second.
commentary
Yep.
in the letter.
So Christine, we got a second.
Okay,
Jim?
Vote down.
sounds good.
I'm keeping it moving.
So move to a vote, yeah, I like it.
Okay.
We have 32 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Library closed.
Alright,
So-
so whenever you're ready for a vote.
Okay, let's go ahead and move this to a vote. All in favor?
5, 6. And Jill, nothing. Okay, right, 2, 4, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alice.
Alan voted yes.
Yeah.
Alex said yes.
There's 6 then, right?
Oh, yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7, okay.
Right.
Jill,
Any opposed?
1. Okay,
And
Jill abstains.
Jill is abstained. Okay,
I want to abstain too.
yep,
abstain. And you
I voted yes.
voted yeah, okay.
For the record, I'm just staying with what we voted to do at our last meeting. When we considered this property the first time.
okay, so
Fair.
I've got too many
Did it
numbers
change
here. I've got 10 votes here, and there's 9 removed. Okay, so
We had.
it was 1,
We had
2,
5,
3, 4,
6.
5, 6.
I think
Okay,
you
so-
counted one more on there.
So Stephen, yeah, so 6, 4, Stephen, you were opposed.
Yes.
Yep,
2,
abstain.
and then
And then
2
2.
abstain.
Jill,
1 opposed, 2 abstain.
yeah, there you
Got
go.
it.
That adds up to 9.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
We're good.
Okay. So that does pass for R1, but again, we can add that commentary in there, in the letter if you'd like. Okay, moving on, then, still in Gamble's area.
Same, yep, so this was a new application we received during the feedback period, this is 1617 Underwood Road. It's just north of the ridings, it's, and in fact, that big green area is a recommendation for open space for the ridings, HOA community, space. The owner has requested that their property be rezoned from RA to RLD, from RA and RLD to entirely R5. The initial OPZ SAC recommendations is RA, that was a consistency change. That was removing that RLD from the property, so the property would be entirely zoned RA. But again, the property owner is requesting R5 to preserve the current and future residential use of the property. And OPZ is still recommending that the property be rezoned to entirely RA.
RA, okay?
Yeah.
Lonnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to see. Jill, Non, you good with RA? Yeah, great. Okay.
So this is that northern section of MB3 where we had the owner applications for mixed use zoning districts. Either it was for MXDN or MXDN or MXDS. Feedback we received through the public comment period was majority about concerns about public facilities and infrastructure capacity, citing, MB3 traffic conditions. And this, any kind of new development or redevelopment further contributing to traffic congestion. OPZ and SCC initial recommendation was for MXDN for these properties. Still OPZ is recommending MXDN. Something to note is within previous rounds of region plans, where we had mixed use zoning recommendations within areas that were not targeted for growth, we recommended a mixed use overlay to bring those into targeted growth for consistency, because typically with mixed use, it's been the goal to, incentivize that type of development in certain areas of the county. Unfortunately, in certain development policy areas, there may not be actually with targeted for growth, so the overlay to bring that into a targeted growth area. In this case, critical corridor, the DPA, which these parcels are located in, critical corridor is not targeted for growth, so that overlay would be applied to bring these parcels that are recommended to be zoned MXDN into a targeted growth development policy area. So that is a new recommendation to go along with these, to follow the last region plans that we applied that policy to. So it's a new overlay that we're applying to mixed use zoning districts outside of targeted growth development policy area.
So again, the current zoning is a mix of a couple commercial zoning districts. Our recommendation based on the owner's applications is MXDN, which is on the lower end of the mixed use zoning
What's
districts.
the owner asking?
They were asking for MXDS, which is a greater density.
Urban.
Yeah,
And we're continuing this because of public comments, because we already voted.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just really if you want to revisit it,
Yeah.
or if you want to just keep moving.
Keep moving.
Keep moving? Keep moving.
And then one little,
What that?
the public comment for that C4 request is right across the
Oh,
street.
yeah, sorry, that's, let me go back to the map here. Yeah. And that was Campbell's 13.
Yours in one too?
Further south.
Yep, I'm good. There it is. Okay. Can you just give the existing zoning?
Yeah, so this was, Campbell's 13, this was one of the properties that was brought up during public comment. The owner seeking C4, current zoning C3. During our initial OPZ SAC recommendation is for C3. Again, bringing it up now because it was brought up during public comment.
C2.
Oh, it's C2, I apologize, C2, so the recommendation is for C2, the owner is requesting C4.
But the public comments were in favor of C4.
Not for this property, right?
Uh,
There's some.
Is this the motorcycle shop or the?
No.
Yeah,
no,
This is the,
On Route 3.
this is across from Nighthawk.
this is the cross parts.
I
Right.
wanna say for public comment, nothing's ringing a bell, let me double check to see if you had any,
What's it developed with? You can't see with this.
It's undeveloped.
It's currently unapproved.
But it's surrounded by C2, isn't it? Okay.
C2 to the south, but to the north, it's C4.
C4.
C4, okay.
So again, only bringing this up, because it was, brought up in this evening's public comment period. So any interest in revisiting this recommendation?
My only question was there public comment besides what we heard tonight? If there's not, then I don't wanna bring it up.
So we had two comments. Both were still, one responded opposing the OPZ recommendation, the other responded supporting the OPZ recommendation, so it's only two, but split, yeah.
Okay.
But recognizing that feedback within this area is, traffic and public
Yeah.
facilities concerns. So, just two comments.
Is that on the northbound?
Yes.
Yes,
On the right side of the northbound?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
No, it's on the south side.
no, it's on the north side.
No.
Northbound.
Wasn't our cheat sheet, Dan?
it was not.
Oh,
Yeah, because if it's something from public comment,
Yeah.
we can't.
Sure.
Just go through. So, all right, next up,
This is another new zoning application. This is 1034 Maryland Green North Lane. This is located just before the Evergreen Road, Johns Hopkins Crossing. It's currently a tile retail, yeah.
Versatile.
Yeah, it's currently split zone C, there's a little bit of R1 at the north end, but it's majority zone C3, a little OS to the southwest. The owner had received a consistency letter and then is now requesting C4. Just to expand any potential commercial uses they may be interested in. The initial OPZSA recommendation was a consistency change recommendation for C3. OPZ is still recommending C3 for the entirety of the parcel.
Everybody's nodding, good with that.
consensus for
Yeah.
C3, I just wanna see. Oops,
Okay,
yeah,
I think it's one of those.
okay, C3.
C4.
I mean, they already have versatile there.
It's for you to adopt it, though.
You have no idea what they.
They
Might
didn't
do
provide
C4.
any.
It's all, the application just said that they would like any uses permitted in C4. It wasn't like I would like to do X, Y. It's
Yeah.
just, I would
So
like that.
it's the highway commercial district. It is the most permissive of the commercial districts. It has more, yes,
Okay.
opportunity for uses that have outdoor storage
Sure.
and auto uses.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
So they could sell this and have something done there.
Okay. This is Evergreen Road. This is the area where we had 5 zoning applications. There's a variety of different requests for RLD, R1, R2, R5. The initial OPZ SAC recommendation was RLD. During the discussion, the SAC had discussed, providing recommendations or waiting for public feedback. So now that public feedback has concluded, we had, I note there's no comment provided. We had one respondent for this area selecting support for OPC preliminary zoning recommendation, but no comment provided on that piece of feedback. So just bringing it back to the SAC saying, and recognizing that you guys had previously discussed this area, but we're looking for public feedback to help inform a decision, a zoning recommendation for this. OPZ is still recommending RLD for these parcels along Evergreen Road.
Is this by, Wegmans?
Yes.
Is that where everybody going?
Yeah, so if you drive behind Wegmans, yeah, you're gonna be
Okay,
taking a left.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna take a left at the water tower and then
Mhm.
going down.
So is there any interest in changing the SAC's recommendation for this area from RLD?
I mean, I thought to make it
It's just
R5,
highlighted changes.
So
Or
only
green
because
recommendations.
it's a great place to put additional housing for lack of housing,
Changes to it.
but nobody wants to discuss it further. I understand. And I know I was one of the sticklers for trying to make it more dense zoning just because it gave us opportunity to provide more housing for the county.
I remember well, one of the things that wasn't brought up when we were considering the first time is you can only turn south out of Evergreen Road.
True.
That's it. Just like the Riverwalk thing, only south, then cut across traffic.
But you
Bang,
would
you
have
can
dinner,
go.
mission barbecue, so you'd be all right.
Hey, there's covenant.
Yeah, so, no, I agree with you.
And were these the parcels that we were talking about, there was no, infrastructure, these are all well and septic.
There's water.
Yeah.
That's now installed, but there is no septic currently.
Okay.
So again, if you do want to recommend a change, we'd be looking for a motion to move forward with any potential change.
Do we need to vote on this anyway? Well, no, we don't.
No,
We
I
can,
mean, I'll make the motion for R5, but if everybody says no, then I'm okay. Leave it already.
You're a pre-vote?
We just not if we want to stay with HEC's
well,
recommendation.
I mean, if Charlie wants to make a formal motion
I'll make
and
a
then see if there's a
motion
second.
to upgrade it to R5. And I understand it's okay if everybody votes against
One property owner.
but that way.
well, you have to get a second first.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll second it, I'm okay with the R5. Because we do.
All right,
So we'll go ahead and, move this to a vote to,
Just have septic and, I mean, you just have sewer and.
They have
water.
nope, we just said that the sewer and the bottom of the hill.
And to clarify, the motions for the entirety of Evergreen.
For all those parcels, yeah,
Except
for
for the
the
raised
parcel.
Oh, for the 5 parcels, not,
yeah, not the whole thing,
Okay.
just for 5 parcels.
okay.
Then put a request.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second by Danila, and now a vote
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move this to a vote
for R5.
for, for R5, for the 5 parcels shown on, this, item.
Yeah.
We call it, these 5 applications.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, 3, nobody online? Those who are opposed? Got,
2, 3, 4.
okay,
Okay,
and
And-
those who are abstaining? Jill, are you abstaining or are you
She's
opposing?
voting no.
she opposed, yeah, okay.
And
Alex voted no, yeah, I
Okay.
abstained.
So
Oh, so Jill voted no, did you count? her?
I got it.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
we're good, we're at 9. Yep,
All right.
okay,
What was the vote again, please? Just,
3, 4, 2. 3 in favor, 4 against, 2 abstain. And again, just for folks at home, is the public comment period for this evening has ended. We had public comment at the beginning. Okay, so it does fail if anybody wants to make another motion, otherwise we'll just keep moving forward.
He moved.
Okay. All right, let me minimize some stuff here.
So this is another new zoning application. These are recreation and open space areas owned by the Four Seasons Community Association located on Dairy Farm Road. They identified parcels they own that are currently used as community open space and are requesting OS. The initial OPZ and SAC recommendation was to retain the R5, or there may have been a consistency change to make the parcel entirely R5. But the property owner has requested OS, and OPZ is supporting that request for OS to change those parcels to open space zoning.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, not.
yeah, we're good.
Alright.
Right, what's the next one? Brandon.
So this one was this property, no number, Granny Farm Lane. That is St. Stephen's Church Road to the south, and that's fronts on Maryland 3 North. We're bringing this one up now because during Plan 2040, this was a land use change application where the property owner had requested the planned land use, we split high density residential and commercial. Plan 2040 planned land use ultimately was adopted, split rural and commercial. There are no current zoning recommendations for these parcels, but just bringing this to your guys' attention because it was a land use change application during Plan 2040 and wanted to bring it forward for a discussion with you guys.
but it was specifically deferred
Exactly,
to the region plan.
Right, so the council said we want to get, before they make a decision, they wanted to hear from, or hear more from the community during this region plan process. So this is us acknowledging their deferring so that we can provide a recommendation specifically for this property. So again, is our initial OPZ recommendation from when you all discussed in May is maintain that split zone of RLD and C2. Comfortable with that?
Makes sense.
Jill, comfortable with that? Good, okay. Okay, next one is the cross.
That would conclude Gamble. Now we can move on to Crofton. We see about 50 comments for the Crofton community. And we had concerns about right sizing, zoning for field conditions within communities. We got a couple of new zoning applications we are going to review, as well as community concerns, expanding development around Maryland 450. This next application is Gambrills 19. This is 1324 Defense Highway. This is Eastern Cycles. Initially, OPZ and SAC had recommended C1. The owner is requesting C4. Public comment was in support of the owner's request for C4. OPZ is recommending that C1 be retained as for the parcel. Bringing this to your to the SAC for discussion.
And this was also brought up by public comment this evening. So again, do you want to revisit your recommendation of C1 for this property?
How many comments were there?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it's all in public comment, kind of makes it interesting.
Mhm.
Doesn't like a lot, but.
18 comments.
And
And what?
support of it.
In support of
And,
C4.
everyone in support of the owner's request for C4.
Okay.
That's
Just
a
keep
little suspicious to
moving.
me.
I'll make a motion that we, agree with the owner and make it C4. That way we just move on, make a decision to move on.
Sounds good. Second,
Second.
Jim? Yeah.
Get ready.
I-
You need like quick keys for
Right.
this.
Okay,
Okay, we'll go ahead and move this to a
Yep.
vote. Those in favor of, having this be C4 instead of OPZ's recommendation of C1, say yes. We've got four.
4.
Jill
Five.
says yes.
Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Okay.
All not in favor, opposed, there we go. Any opposed?
2.
Two. And nobody's abstaining.
We need one, yes.
One?
Yeah. Okay, so 6, we did meet that 2/3 threshold,
Mhm.
so the SAC's recommendation will be updated to C4.
Okey-doke.
So right up the street, across the way, this is Crofton 1, 1350 Defense Highway. The owner had requested C3 to pursue some sort of commercial use. OPZ SAC initial recommendation was for C1. OPZ's recommendation is still C1 for the property. Public feedback regarding this parcel was concerns about traffic congestions on 424 and development within the Staples Court Commercial Center.
And they have less public feedback on this property.
Less feedback, but bring it to your attention because of Eastern Cycles.
In close proximity, so,
Okay.
so same idea, is there an interest?
So we want to move this from generally a pink C1 area, now upgrade it.
Two more debts.
A red, yeah, that, I mean, that's what,
Then you would have to make a motion.
that's what was done with Eastern Motorcycle.
Correct.
So further development is more intense, yeah.
They were like contradicting each other, right? Their comments.
But, yeah.
For
Public
this triangular
comments
property.
Only supported.
Well, the owner's asking for C3 and the other owner was asking for C4.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference here is that Eastern Motorcycles is developed and asking to
Yeah,
expand.
it's
C
an
three
established-
is undeveloped, correct?
Yes,
Definitely a difference.
I thought there was some,
I think there's a residential use.
I-
It's,
I thought oh no, it's the adjacent property. That I was gonna say junkyard, but it's a
Unsightly.
Motor vehicle shop, I don't know what to call it,
Used cars.
used cars,
And a direct.
heavily used cars.
Steven, did you wanna make a motion?
Sure, I move that we accept OPC's recommendation, again, to keep this as C1.
Okay, and we're looking for a second. Sorry, I can check online too.
Lisa just second.
Oh, sorry, Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
Great.
put this to a vote, in favor of C1 for this.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 online, and sorry, Alice, can you just do it again? Okay, so that was 6 then.
And those opposed,
1, 3,
one
And
opposed,
then-
those abstaining?
2 abstain, that's 9, yep, okay, so C1 carries here. Moving on.
Okay, this was another news, owner application. This is No Number Crane Highway. This is so this is the Crofton Triangle to the east, Crofton Parkway, Village Green is to the south, Country Clubs to the east, directly across the street from the pond. The initial OPZ SAC recommendation was for C3. The owner has requested that the parcel be zoned entirely OS to reflect their desire to preserve the parcel. OPZ is agreeing with that request, is now recommending OS to reflect that request.
Comfortable with the property owner's request for OS? Okay.
So this is No Number Maryland 3. I should include it in some parcel, but this is just south of the Riverwalk community. The initial OPZ SAC recommendation was to retain the OS and R10 split. Given based upon best available mapping resources, that there's maybe some environmentally sensitive resources located within the parcel. That R10 is located right at the little corner where Mark is highlighting with the arrow. The property owner has requested the parcel be redeveloped, be rezoned to R10 to provide residential housing.
Entirely clear. Yeah,
OPZ is recommending that the parcel be split OS and R10 following the initial recommendation.
so any,
Down the middle?
No, so retaining that OS and R10 initial recommendation. It's currently split zone OS and I think C3.
Right.
The recommendation changed that C3 to R10 based upon the adopted plan land use, which is medium density residential.
How big is the property?
It is 3.72 acres.
and it's nearly all within the floodplain.
All in the floodplain? So they're not gonna build a lot.
Nearly, yeah. So interest in, and again, going back to our slide deck here. Anybody want to make a recommendation other than Office Planning and Zoning's recommendation for maintaining the existing zoning, but just changing this small corner to R10?
I like your.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, R10.
okay. All right, so we just got a few more slides here, so we'll go through them quickly. This is a similar one, Sam.
Again, this is another owner application. The initial OPZ recommendation, OPZ SAC recommendation was for R5. The property owner has since requested that these two parcels be rezoned OS, reflecting their desire to preserve the parcels. OPZ is agreeing with that request and is recommending OS for these two open space recreation parcels.
All good? Open space.
Another new application, this is 1079 Maryland 3 North Lane. This is located just north of Conway Road and 424 Light. It's currently split zone R5 and C2. There was no, the initial recommendation is just reflecting that OPZ or SAC did not make a recommendation the property owner has requested the property be entirely zoned C4 to support a historic car rehabilitation and other C4 uses. OPZ is recommending that the parcel be zoned entirely C2 to be consistent with the commercial plan land use.
So just taking the remainder of this back portion to C2.
I'm okay with maintaining the commercial, existing commercial, but I don't wanna see the commercial extended further eastward. Just
So,
as we did.
so maintain the existing split.
You want-
Yes, to maintain the existing split, to move it along, yes.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
I move that we maintain the existing split.
Do we have a second?
Hold on one second, let me. Unless, Sam, can you see?
That would be a second from Alex or Joe.
Okay, any other seconds here?
Okay.
Second to maintain a split,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
So we will move this to a vote to maintain the split zoning that's currently on the.
Yep.
The parcel. Okay,
So-
any, all in favor, there we go.
1, 2, 3.
Just 3,
Sure.
okay, those opposed?
2, 3.
Opposed means we're gonna go along with OBC's recommendation, right?
No,
Well, we could, I think
Could.
we have to make it
So-
another,
Yeah, so 3, 4, and we've got two folks that haven't, right?
No, I'll abstain.
Abstain,
no, I voted to save the split.
okay.
so we've got
Or
Alice opposed,
Yeah.
Jill opposed, okay, cool, and then we just had the one.
Okay,
So what's the count?
3, 5, 1.
351.
Okay, so,
Let's make
C,
it.
correct.
This is a new owner request, okay,
Yes.
that's, I was
Yeah.
confusing myself with something else, okay.
Okay, so a motion then, I'm assuming if you want to consider C2 for the entire property.
Yeah, cause we didn't touch on this one before,
I'll
so,
make a motion to go with C2 for the entire property and OBC's recommendation.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay.
move that to vote, all in favor?
Alice is a yes, and Jill's yes, so 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. Okay. Those opposed?
1, 2, 3. And 1 abstention. Okay. So so there's no consensus, that's fine, we can just note this then in the record as well, okay?
It's the north bound.
So So part of that, what we noted in this area was that there's this section of neighborhood preservation development policy area, find these parcels that had egress and ingress on Maryland 3. So OPZ is making the recommendation to change that neighborhood pres to critical corridor. So to allow those properties to be included in any future Maryland 3 corridor studies.
Yeah.
And again, these parcels do not egress onto any of these residential neighborhoods to the east. They all egress and ingress on Maryland 3.
It looks like Carver Road may attach, but it does not.
Yeah, there's a weird dead end.
It's a
Yeah.
guardrail,
So-
yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
so everybody comfortable with including these just so that they can be included in any future studies for Maryland 3?
Yeah, because those are people who are traveling on that road to and
Right.
fro, so.
You'd want to include them in
Mhm.
any studies to
Yeah.
capture their traffic.
Yeah.
These are wooded, this is all wooded area.
Not necessarily, some are developed with homes or small businesses, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Everybody comfortable, hold on, I gotta pull up, Jill, yep, nodding. Okay, and I think everybody else sort of supported that consensus,
I don't,
okay,
for the record.
got it.
This is again, that intrusion of commercial stuff back into
This is,
residential areas.
this is an overlay though, right?
Yeah.
The- yeah,
So, yeah, if you wanna look at the definition on your cheat sheet there, yeah, so.
it basically makes sure that in any studies are included, correct? Or am I like misremembering that?
So we're gonna go lightning round here, because I think we can get this wrapped up in the next few minutes.
Okay.
Right, Sam? So,
So next up, we have Woodwardville. We only had 3 comments within the community, but we did have a new owner application. This is 2805 Fifth Avenue and Rager Station Road. OP's SAC initial recommendation was to rezone the property to entirely RA through a consistency change. The request by the owner is RLD to develop the property to provide residential dwellings.
any interest in upzoning this property to RLD?
Because somewhere what I read that I don't have in front of me, I read through the 138 pages the other day. It said that that OPZ was recommending that open space be RA. Open space. No,
On this corner here, is that
Yeah.
getting a consistency change?
Yeah, that is a consistency change.
I just want to disagree with that because as we've heard here this evening, there's, supposed to be support for open space. And that all abuts the wildlife refuge. So I just wanted to speak up and say I disagree with making the entire parcel RA.
Okay, Do you wanna
I
make-
think open space should be left, open space is bad enough that it's RA.
So-
My entire community at large had no idea that anyone privately owned property. We all believed that that was the wildlife refuge.
and the assumption too is that you own a parcel and you have one zoning district on that parcel. So that was one of these items that we had discussed earlier is there tends to be sometimes creep of the zoning districts across parcel lines. And you can see generally, maybe it shares the same geometry.
Yeah, but if you
But-
just beyond your own red line, you see water. I
Mhm.
mean, all of that is very wet
Yeah.
and very marshy. Again,
It doesn't mean
it's
that
the
they
National
build on it.
Wildlife Refuge. I understand, but I just
So-
think open space should be left open.
Do you wanna make a motion to maintain a split zone of open space and RA on this property?
I would like to make that motion.
Then you may make that
Do it.
motion.
I make a motion that we, leave this particular parcel, the split zoning as is.
Okay, is there a second for split zoning this property?
I'll second it so we can get to a vote.
Okay, move to vote. All in favor of split zoning the property?
2,
Three.
3,
Anybody online?
4.
Okay, 4 online, or 4, with 1
Yep.
online, there we go.
Okay.
Those opposed?
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that's our none.
Your attention, please. The
Okay.
time is now 7:47.
So that
The
motion
library
fails.
is
Does anybody wanna make
closing
any
in
additional
13
motion?
minutes at 8 o'clock. Please be aware
Okay.
that computers will shut down automatically at 7:55. If you need any assistance,
Okay,
please be at
so
the
then the
desk
last
now.
bit is,
Did we
Library
need
is
to-
here
'cause that's a-
again at
oh,
10 a.m.
That
tomorrow.
was a new owner request, so
Yeah,
do we
it
need
was.
to? Cause it didn't pass,
oh,
right?
sorry, yeah,
So
so
do we need a motion to do something else?
to recommend RA for the entire property.
Or? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to make an RA for the entire property along with OPC's recommendation.
okay,
Second.
Okay, we'll move that to vote. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
5. Alice, what's that?
yeah, I'm losing the timestamps there.
She just said aye again.
So
6.
6,
Okay, those opposed? We got 2.
3,
Wait, you just voted.
Cause I voted first for it to remain, to have the OS and the flip zone, and that's what I wanted. And then
Okay, but you just voted twice.
I didn't mean to, it was.
Okay.
So-
So 5. And then
opposed.
let's
is-
do opposed again. Those opposed?
So.
This would be for the whole thing going to RA.
Okay, so opposed
Got
is
4
4,
opposed.
okay, so we still don't have
Okay,
a vote, and that's fine, we can record that. Y'all didn't come to a consensus on this. Okay, then the Two Rivers community,
Two Rivers Community, typical feedback we received were concerns about traffic on Conway Road impacting quality of life and public safety. And then we received a new zoning application within the community. Parcel O, initial OPZ recommendation is to retain the split OS and R2. Again, this is one of the highlighted parcels from public feedback, significant amount of public feedback regarding infrastructure and public facilities capacity, traffic congestion.
Do you want to make any changes to this recommendation?
Cause this matches the PUD.
Yeah, this is within the plan unit development.
Okay,
And that was generally our approach to this.
not seeing any appetite to change.
And this is a new request. This is no number Meyer Station Road. It's outside the plan, the Two Rivers Plan Unit Development, and the parcel is actually split by Meyer Station. It's currently split OS, RA, and then the R2 is located on that western parcel. The property owner is requesting that that western parcel be zoned R2 and that the eastern parcel be zoned RLD to develop the properties to provide residential units.
So R2 for this square, RLD, right, is what for the entire property is what the applicant is requesting.
It's already R2 on the west side.
It's already R2 there, yep. And then so really the change is then to take this eastern parcel from the split to all RLD.
And OPZ is recommending, to retain the adopted zoning for the parcel. Given the feedback we received.
Keeping the split.
Yes.
Recommending split. So,
I think we should.
is there a motion to maintain the existing zoning and office planning and zoning's recommendation?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, maintain the split, what you see on the screen. You have to create the motion.
Because it's a new application, so we should say you all should take a
Yeah.
position on it.
I second.
Yes,
So can we just get some clarification on your motion?
right.
So I thought that we accept the OPC recommendation for the western parcel to be R2 and the eastern parcel to maintain the split between OS and RA. I second that.
Okay.
Okay, move that to a vote. All in favor?
2, 4, 5, 6, and hold on. In favor, 7, and sorry, Joel, I'm getting to you. 8.
I think everybody here voted yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, so that is 9 then.
yeah.
Okay, so.
Any opposed? No. This is up.
Okay.
And that
Recommended, there we go.
includes mapping items that we had within our presentation. Similar to what Mark had before about the plan, looking for some sort of motion with recommendation.
Support the draft zoning map and recommend sending it to the planning advisory. Can I have a motion?
Can you say, or somebody else?
I made a motion to support the map and along their planning project.
Okay, and is Charlie second?
second.
Yeah,
Dean beat them.
yeah,
Charlie,
we got you with mouthful.
okay, and then a vote. Christine.
Okay, so let's move that to a vote. All in favor of moving this forward, adopting the.
Yep, all right.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I forgot the vote.
All right,
And nobody, no, any opposed? No. We're good?
okay, great. Just one last slide here for next steps then. Let me clear.
Certificates, do you want me to start that?
Sure. Okay, so we can cancel the stakeholder advisory committee meeting on Tuesday, assuming we're all done with our work here. Next up, like I said, is the planning advisory board. All these dates are on the Region 5 hub site, which you can find down here, aacounty.org/Region 5. Again, the first meeting, September 17th, it's just a briefing about the region plans. The first public hearing is actually on October 8th here at Crofton High School down the street. Written testimony will end on October 22nd. And then there are a couple additional meetings where the planning advisory board will deliberate on their recommendation. They'll make a recommendation that goes to the county council, and we anticipate that bill being introduced to county council in early 2026. Okay, so assuming there are no more questions, Christina, if you want to adjourn us.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. My notes here. Okay, you need a motion for adjournment. Anybody?
We adjourn.
Okay. And Charlie was the second? Okay. And we have to do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All those in favor of adjourning? Yeah. Okay, we've got folks. Bill, are you good to adjourn? Yes.
He doesn't have to.
She's like, I'm home, I don't need to. Any opposed? No, okay. So the meeting, ends, our final meeting on August 14th at 7:54 PM.